To wrap up the first half of the event, our next speaker will talk about something you may do on a daily basis. He wants us to notice the benefits that one may just have by getting a little bit of fresh air once in a while. Please welcome Oscar Zhou with the art of taking a walk.
So, before we start, I would like to say that maybe just a repetition of what Terry just mentioned before the beginning of this whole event. This is more of a chatting than a one or multiple speech. So if you want to propose questions, just raise your hands. Yes. And now, today, I will talk about more of a personal experience than science-based study that requires researchers and whatever that is. And which is, as this says, to talk within the art of walking. Before I start, I want to mention a few misconceptions people may have with taking a walk. In Zhongwen, it's 遛弯. Firstly, number one, very important and crucial, it is not an activity that is only meant for people who are 60 years or older. You can't take a walk when you're 14. And yeah. Secondly, it is not explicitly meant for couples. You can take a walk alone. Especially I encourage you to do so, and I'll explain later. And with these misconceptions explained, we can proceed. So basically, I want to show you some old studies show now. Studies show that, okay, firstly, you don't need to be a mathematician, a business management person, or an economic person to understand these data. Basically, if you walk 1 to 74 minutes per day, intentionally with some certain speed, you live 1.8 years longer in your elderly life. That's a heck of a deal, I would say. And if you walk 450 minutes or over 450 minutes per week, you actually can live 4.5 years longer in your elderly life. And 450 minutes a week, I did the math a little bit, it's just slightly over 1 hour per day. And you don't have to be a mathematician to understand that 1 hour per day of fast-paced walking is 4.5 years of prolonged life. That's just a deal that we should all take, I personally think. And if you think differently, please talk to me after this, during this 20 minutes break, and we can discuss about it. And let me see where we got. Yes, and another thing I need to say that walking in my context is not walking in a 15-man game where you're talking about games and ladies. It's just not the way walking goes in my context. It's basically personally I have to say I'm a composer for my band, which requires me to be innovative, and I need to write songs regularly for my band. And I personally do not write songs by sitting at the desk doing math homework, just thinking of a motive for my song at the back of my head. I need to put myself in a condition where I can actually think and think creatively. And after 2 years of actually discovering the whole process of composing songs, I think the most efficient way is to take a walk. Because when you take a walk, and with your phone off, of course, you basically think of things. No matter what you think is what's for lunch today, or whether it is damn, the girl I met on the street today is very beautiful. You think about things, and if you're an artistic type of person, which I personally consider myself to be, you think of motives. You think of a structure of an art piece that you may create when you get back home. You may think of a movie scene that you want to film if you are a what do you call? Yes, a director. And so basically, when you're thinking about things, you create a blank space in your mind, and that's when creativity hops in and that's where imaginations come from. That's the first benefits of taking a walk that I personally think. And secondly, it's actually a chatting thing. But as I mentioned, it's not a 15-man game type of walking. The chatting I meant here is actually chatting with yourself, or to be more precisely, your inner self. Like, in these days, we are like surrounded by people. Like, the amount of people we meet each day is like Beijing during the national holidays. Like, there's like 80 million people coming to Beijing to see the Forbidden City and what's around them. That's just insanely many people. And like, we talk to our friends, we talk to our teachers, we talk to our family members, even strangers, and like some waiter at a dining hall, like a restaurant that you might like. But we rarely consider talking to ourselves, like our inner selves. Like, you just ignore what you really want and you really care about, and we tend to actually decide to talk to people around us. And as I said, walking alone actually creates a very good opportunity for you to talk with yourself, because if you're not walking with your couple or another 14 men, I think, and if you're alone, you can actually like think while you're talking to yourself. You might be thinking, like after a long day, you might be thinking, what do I really want from the bottom of my head? No, the bottom of my heart. Like, what do I really want? Maybe you don't want good scores because that's what your parents tell you that you want to do, and you don't want a billion dollar asset, which is like, some people don't want them, but I don't really understand those people. But maybe that's not what you really want. And you have to talk to your inner self to actually decide what do you really want. Or else you'll just get lost in like, okay, for all IB students, like, for IB students, you get lost in countless cups of coffee and little amounts of sleep, like 3-hour sleeps each night. It's horrific, but it's the truth. So basically you just get lost, and then you would think that what you really want is not what you really want, but it's what your parents or your friends want, like good scores or a $1 billion asset. And I want to quote a very famous philosopher I like, named Schopenhauer. He is Arthur Schopenhauer, I believe, from Germany. And that quote says, "A man can be himself only so long as he is alone. And if he does not love solitude, he will not love freedom. For it is only when he is alone that he is really free." So if you're taking a walk alone, by his definition, which I highly agree with, you're at a free state. Like, basically, you're free from social conventions. Not really, you can't really walk with your top off, but you're free from other social conventions. You're free from like your social circle and your social relations that people may be like not so happy dealing with. You're free from homework if you're done with them. And basically, it's another way, it's another escapism, as I say. Like, Americans in the 1930s used movies to have escapism. Nowadays, we use taking a walk. It's perfectly fine. And basically, you can relieve your pressure that you receive on a daily basis. Like, when you're taking a walk, you don't want to say like, oh, my homework is still not done. Why am I still like procrastinating? And you don't want to think about how like AI is gonna take my career and we're all gonna die because the sun is going to explode in 1 million years. You basically think about the brighter sides, and you basically, as I mentioned, talk to your inner self. And it's a relief from pressure, and I would say it's a very nice thing to do. And we need them because our pressure as an IB student, or a non-IB student, is just loads, and it's too much that I would say a teenager, like it's too much for a teenager to deal with, and we need to relieve it. Personally, I would say taking a walk alone is a very nice thing. Lastly, I would say that the benefit, the most obvious benefit, that nobody would rarely consider is that we can like amuse ourselves by viewing like beautiful scenes. And you do not have to go to Iceland and walk, or you do not have to go to the Amazon forest to walk to see a very nice scene. And here's how I prove it. This is taken from Keystone, like a few months ago, and this, like on this PPT, may not seem very well, but I personally consider this very beautiful. You can see the position of the moon is just in the right place. It takes a photo. I can take a photo with Keystone building. This is another photo, a very nice photo that I like, which is like, I think during October, and the clouds were like just pinkish, and I don't know why that happened, but that is actually quite amusing for me personally, although I still haven't completed my science work then. But you know, seeing this is amusing and refreshing in the sense that you escape from reality for a short period of time and you get back to not so good reality, but at least you're happy for like 15 minutes until the sun sets. Well, I think you guys get my point here, and please, like, I'm not this speech is not, no, this chat is not an advertisement for you to like go out to take a walk. I'm simply sharing my personal experience that has all the benefits of taking a walk. And if yours resonates with mine, I strongly encourage you and suggest you to take a walk, and maybe you'll find something new and you'll find out who you really want to be. Who knows? Well, like, start on taking a walk during the sunset hours. That's just a very nice thing to do on a daily basis. Thank you.